Hey guys, I wanted to talk about what I think is just a central concept to life itself. It's profound, and so people need to think about it, I think, more often. I'm going to read and reference if you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him. And I'm going to make comments and compare them to another book I love. He's talking about a spiritual journey, the pilgrim's quest, okay? In every age, men have set out on pilgrimages, on spiritual journeys, on personal quests, driven by pain, drawn by longing, lifted by hope. Singly and in groups, they come in search of relief, entertainment, peace, power, joy, or they know not what. Wishing to learn and confusing being taught with learning. They often seek out helpers, healers, and guides, spiritual teachers whose disciples they would become. The emotionally troubled man of today, the contemporary pilgrim, wants to be the disciple of the psychotherapist. If he does not seek the guidance of such a contemporary guru, he will find himself beginning on a latter-day spiritual pilgrimage of his own. This should not surprise us. Crises marked by anxiety, doubt, and despair have always been those periods of personal unrest that occur at the times when a man is sufficiently unsettled to have an opportunity for personal growth. We must always see our own feelings of uneasiness as being our chance for making the growth choice rather than the fear choice. I'll come back to the book, but yeah, Brendan Burchard says this too. Your psychology has two basic paths. You choose to be motivated and driven by a quest for freedom, your destiny and transcendence and power and happiness and joy and all the great things. Or as you go through your life and the choices you make, you choose to live out of fear, to not be authentic, to not speak your mind, to not dress the way you want to dress, to not, say what you got to say, always waiting for permission or afraid someone's going to make fun of you. This is important because, we all go through that, but makes no sense to choose every day to be motivated to let fear win the battles every day. And it is an everyday thing. You got to start being conscious of it and choosing to live driven by a quest for freedom. Your happiness depends on it. And really, the fate of humanity and the world depends on more people choosing to break free of conformity and what society says in the will of fearful, timid, ignorant masses. So both things are driving me to share this with you. I care about people. I want everyone to have a better life. But yeah, I'm really concerned about the state of the world right now too. Coming back to it. So too, the patient's longing for growth is the central force of his pilgrimage. The psychotherapist needs only to be aware of this force in his patient and to keep it within his vision. Then he may enjoy his work and need never bog down in boredom. His task is simply to watch as the person in front of him wrestles with high-nigh paralyzing conflict for the emergence of what he knows is there. Man's inherent longing for relatedness and for meaning. The therapist is an observer and a catalyst. He has no power to cure the patient, for cure is entirely out of his hands. That's what I'm learning. He can add nothing to the patient's inherent capacity to get well. And whenever he tries to do so, he meets stubborn resistance, which slows up the progress of treatment. The patient is already fully equipped for getting well. Since he, the therapist, is not responsible for the cure, he is free to enjoy the spectacle of it taking place. Interesting concept there is I'm coming hip to this concept. I need to be more artful and artistic and write my story and make my music. I can't be so black and white and straightforward in my advice for people. I'll figure it out. But this is, of course, like everyone else, including the therapist, the patient is too often inclined to act out of fear rather than out of his longing for growth. If not, pilgrimages would always begin out of an overflow of joy rather than as is more often the case, being conceived in pain and turmoil. People seek the guidance of a psychotherapist when their usual self-limited, risk-avoiding ways of operating are not paying off, when there's distress and disruption in their lives. Otherwise, we are all too ready to live with the familiar and the boring, so long as it seems to work, no matter how colorless the rewards. I had to wake up to that 2 years back. Lots of things coalesced. For one, the Bernie Sanders campaign, like everything I cared about was coalescing with that candidate, what we're trying to accomplish. But I was also just realizing that I was like an maze, like a rat, walking the same streets every day to a job I liked but didn't love, and doing the same things and the repetition and monotony. And I knew somewhere in my psyche, on some level, this is not life. I'm not living fully. This is not life. Been hypnotized, unconscious. That's another thing that Brendan Burchard woke me up to, is have vision for your life. Understand you're here for a reason. If you don't know what it is yet, you will find it. And it's not simply to be another mindless consumer, another faceless robot, put on a suit and tie. Sorry, guys, but you know what I'm saying? Leave a legacy. Do something that's meaningful for you. Change the world if that's what you want. Help people. You help enough people, you will be rich. Break out of the monotony and conformity and live a real life. Where was I? There's one more important thing I want to read here. Okay, and so it is not astonishing that though the patient enters therapy insisting that he wants to change, more often than not, what he really wants is to remain the same and to get the therapist to make him feel better. Yeah, I can relate to that with friends I talk to from time to time. His goal is to become a more effective neurotic so that he may have what he wants without risking getting into anything new. He prefers the security of known misery to the misery of unfamiliar security. You got to get comfortable with not knowing things and not knowing how to do that project. Become the speaker, the author, the writer. No one knows, these things at birth. That you learn. You have a capacity to learn. Have the belief. With time and effort, you will learn, and you might discover, oh yeah, it feels good to learn. It's fun to learn. You feel more empowered. You like the challenge, the puzzle solving. It's part of human nature. And that's why, I say read books, read interesting books. All the information's out there. I'm going to quote a line that I heard Brendan, I think, quoted someone else. The pathway out of the labyrinth has been well trodden, and it's laid out. It's out there. A little mythological reference for you. I hope that resonates. I just think it's a central concept to living life. Most people have all kinds of regrets at the end of their life. Let's be real. And they never, every bit as sad, if not more sad, that their individual days don't have what Brendan calls the charge, the energy of living authentically, be doing something that's meaningful to you, and choosing courage. So that is my goal. For me, world peace. New religion without churches, without priests. I have to do this. I'm not going to face my death with any regrets about what I didn't try to do or say. And that ain't going to happen. So I accept whatever risk comes from it. And then once you make peace with that, I know I'm living a life that most people never get to. And every day I have that, I'm thankful. So I keep trying to do videos that help people. Give them just good philosophy or information about health and just tips to living a better life. Philosophy is the key to living like a happy life. You know, to deal with the storms and struggles that come. It's your attitude and the way that you perceive things that shape how you feel about them and lead, ultimately unveil your destiny. You have a great destiny. I have no doubt about that. It might just take you a while till you get comfortable with these things. Okay, signing off, guys. Have a good day. Bye.